Today I'm going to be eating like the 3 best boys from My Hero Academia. We have Shoto, Deku, and Bakugo. The reason for that is they've been going through their own training arc, and now I will say, this is going to be interesting. Their dishes are relatively easy to put together, but I'm really training to become All Might. The All Might diet is something I am terrified to do, so hopefully this gets me amped up to do it. Now I'm starting off breakfast with Shoto's favorite dish, which is a cold soba dish. I'm boiling 2 portions worth of soba here. 1 for me, and probably 1 for me later unless Rachel wants to eat it. We're just gonna boil this until it's tender and then basically plate up. That's how fast breakfast is gonna happen. While the soba is boiling, I wanna tell you guys about Taco Drip, my brand new merch website. I'm really trying to put together some stuff I'm hoping you guys will like this entire line of Food Wars inspired swag. And I have these amazing collages made by one of my friends. If you guys wanna support the channel directly, I would love for you guys to check out the website. That's tacodrip.com. Pick up some of your favorite stuff. Pick up everything all at once. Display it proudly because this is worth displaying. Now these noodles are almost done boiling. We just have to strain them. That's done. Let's strain them. Just run them under cold water for a couple of minutes. Traditionally, soba is done on a plate that is kind of perforated, so this way all of the wet noodle juices, which is a very weird way of saying the extra water, will seep through. I don't have one of those, so I just tried to get them nice and dry in a container. In my bowl over here, I have some bottled suyu because yes, everyone should have this in their refrigerator. I have a link to Amazon if you want to pick it up down below. Now for the noodles, we're just gonna get a nice giant pile of them right onto this plate. I have no shame in how I'm eating this today. That's actually a lot of noodles. That's okay. This is 1 portion. Get on there. Stop it. Be nice to me today. There we go. The rest of the noodles for later. Look at that. Look at, we got breakfast tomorrow and or lunch later today. Do whatever you want with these. Of course, a bunch of green onion. I like a lot of green onion. I also have a couple of soft boiled eggs. These are like 7-minute eggs. I had these from yesterday. Shoto, my man, you can't just eat noodles. You gotta have some protein. I don't even know if I could cut into this without it leaking anywhere. Should we try? Do you guys want to see the inside of this? Oh, baby, look at that. Look at that jam. Look at it. I'm gonna go 2 eggs right on the side. Oh, even this one, look at that. 7-minute eggs, you know? That is a beautiful breakfast if I've ever seen it. All in all, this took less than 10 minutes to put together if you have the eggs ready ahead of time. If not, you can just also make the eggs while you're making the noodles, so you can make this for breakfast relatively quickly. Last thing to do is just wolf this down because I am hungry. It is 11 a.m. I'm gonna start with just a giant, okay, so it looked really pretty, and this was now a mistake because there's not enough room on this plate. Dip it right in there. Oh. So simple and so satisfying. I'm gonna hit the eggs with just a pinch of salt, just a little bit. Normally you could dip it in salt, but I'm just gonna do a pinch of salt. Oh, the jammy goodness. Perfect egg, 10 out of 10 egg. I'm gonna devour this, go to the gym, and start making lunch. And lunch, we're eating Deku. Sounds really weird. We're not actually, you know what I mean. Now for lunch, I'm gonna be making some spicy mapo tofu for best boy Bakugo. Is he best boy? Who's your best boy or girl in My Hero Academia? Now I did prep out quite a bit of this ahead of time just because it's a ton of ingredients. Yes, the full ingredient list is down below in the description if you really want it. This is kind of a mashup of my own style of mapo tofu, but heavily influenced over from Made with Lao. Made with Lao is a fantastic Chinese cooking channel. They are friends of mine. If you guys want to go check out their original recipe, it's pretty awesome as well. But now the thing is Bakugo really likes spicy food. So we're gonna try to make this a little more than I can handle, but it's gonna be delicious. For this version of mapo tofu, I'm actually using chicken thigh. Now, normally you would use some kind of a pork if you really want. You could also use beef. You could really use whatever you want. The biggest reason why I'm using chicken is because Bakugo is basically a rooster. That fact is not lost on me. Probably should have put a towel under this. There we go. Once you have it all diced up, you can kind of just mince it a little more if you really want to. I'm not gonna go too hard. I actually like chunks of chicken in mine. You know, if you can't have this chicken. Once this is chopped up to however really you want it to be chopped up, I'm gonna pop this back into my container, and then I'm gonna get rid of this because we don't want chicken really on anything else. Now with the chicken done, we just basically have to put everything together. Grab whatever stovetop you're using. We're using handy dandy stovetop number 1. Realistically, I should be using a wok, but I don't have anything that'll get a wok hot enough to really cook this through, so I'm just using a flat bottomed pan, and I probably should use something other than olive oil that has a higher smoke point. It's fine. First thing I'm gonna do is add just about 3 cloves worth of garlic and a small amount of ginger, just about the same amount of you would use for your garlic. Next, to make it super spicy, this is some Chinese chili pepper flake. Stir, 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 stir. Then I have a bunch of Szechuan peppercorns. Yes, I am doing it this way. Now, once that's toasty, this takes literal seconds. This is when I'm gonna throw in my chicken, and with the chicken, about a tablespoon worth of oyster sauce. Now, I'm gonna cook this just until the chicken is maybe 50 to 70% cooked, which is kind of a broad range. You just don't wanna cook it all the way through. It's really hot in here. This was a mistake. this has been cooking for those 4 or 5 minutes or so, and it's getting really, really nice now. You can see a lot of the fat from the chicken is starting to be released. That's why I'm not adding any additional oil. This is what I'm gonna add, just about 1 cup worth of water, about a tablespoon worth of Zhaojing wine. You could also use something like mirin if you don't have this. What is this one? That's soy sauce. Tablespoon or 2 worth of soy sauce. But then also one of the main ingredients is tobanjan, or broad bean paste. This is kind of what brings everything together. It is kind of hard to find, but you can also just order on Amazon. So if you want to pick that up, I'll try to remember to throw a link down there. Now, as soon as this, oh God, something in my nose. Oh, it's spicy. As soon as this comes up to a simmer, this is when I'm gonna throw in all of my tofu. This is just 1 full pack of tofu. This is firm tofu. Traditionally, you do it with soft tofu, but I actually really like the firm tofu because it reminds me of Bakugo. That sounded way more etchy than I intended it to sound. Now, tofu is very absorbent and very porous, so hopefully it's going to absorb all of those flavors, but we're gonna let this simmer another 5 minutes or so with a lid on. Let the flavors hang out, you know? Don't touch it. This has been simmering for about 5 minutes on the other stove, so I don't waste all of this gas. But this is ready to finish. One thing I did forget to add is just a touch of sugar. This is about 1 tablespoon worth of sugar. Now, the next thing I'm gonna do is thicken it with cornstarch. Now, you don't wanna put cornstarch directly in because it will start to like solidify right away. You always have to add cornstarch to a little bit of water. I'm adding maybe 2 tablespoons of cornstarch to start to about a half a cup worth of water. I'll start throwing this in there. Do a little bit at a time because sometimes it might be a little bit too much liquid, or I'm sorry, too much starch. I'm just adding enough to see it start to like kind of gel together. This is like super aggro right now. I only used half of what I made. So yeah, your mileage will vary. The last thing I'm gonna add is that black vinegar, which I absolutely love, which is also totally optional. And now this is ready to plate up. I'm so excited for this. This is one of my favorite things. I have this very sad plate. This is what it's gonna go in. So I'm gonna take a nice giant scoop of this. Look at that. Look at that. Now this is gonna get a bunch of green onions. We'll serve it up with a nice little bowl of rice, or you can go big bowl of rice, bowl of lunch, mapo tofu. Doesn't that just look so warm and inviting? I'm having a moment. Now I just wanna try the mapo tofu by itself because this is what I've been looking forward to. Cheers. Oh, instant spice, but I love it so much. It's like you get the numbing and the heat and the tenderness of the chicken, and like that nice tofu just absorbed everything. Oh, hot. Really hot. Oh, we're going in with some rice. I love this stuff so much. Dinner time. Ready? Now for best boy Deku, I'm gonna be making his pork Katsudan. This is something that his mom makes him anytime he's feeling down and out. I'm starting off with 1/2 an onion that I sliced into like these like kind of not super thin, but not really thick slices. You don't want them too thin. And then we have to make the dashi. I'm using these fancy dashi granules because I don't really keep dashi on hand, and I'm gonna go for just about a 1/2 tablespoon worth, you know? You don't want it too strong. To this, I had boiled some water, or you can just do this on the stovetop, but since I have this is super easy. Then I'm gonna add a splash worth of soy sauce and a splash of mirin. You can also substitute this for just some rice wine if you really want to, but a little on the sweeter side. Throw in a pinch of sugar. This is maybe just about 2 teaspoons worth of sugar. Make sure you mix this up. That hot water should really dissolve everything that needs to be dissolved. Then give us a taste. That's good. I might add a little more soy sauce towards the end, but that's really nice. With the onions and dashi out of the way, I just have to pound out my pork. Take this, plop it onto this very handy IKEA cutting board that's meant for this apparently. Plastic wrap right on top. Take the saute pan you're going to be cooking this with. We're gonna pound this out until it's just about like centimeter thick. So this thick? That looks good enough. The reason why you want this thin is because you want this to cook relatively quickly when we go to deep fry it. Now for the next one, because Rachel is gonna be fed. Gandalf, you're not gonna be fed. You already got dinner. Now we have both of our pork chops ready to go. These are gonna be deep fried super quickly. I am gonna season these with just a pinch of salt, sprinkle these with some flour. This is just gonna help us dredge it later. Once you have these both floured, this is when we're just gonna go straight into 1 beaten egg. Dredge it, oh yes. I don't know why that makes me so happy. I also have some panko breadcrumbs sitting right here. Then we're gonna go straight into the panko, give this a nice press, coat it, you know, just get it covered, just get it covered. Do the second one real quick, just like that. Pork chops are ready. I'm gonna take the egg wash that we used for this pork and I'm gonna place it into my other 2 eggs that I'm gonna cook for this katsudan. Now the next thing you'll need is a rack with a tray. This way when we fry our pork, we can rest it on there without it letting it get like too soggy. On my stovetop, I actually had some oil that was already heating up just to help this process along. Once your oil is up to temp, this is when we're going to gently place our pork directly into there. And yes, we are shallow frying this. We can get both these in there. Yes, yes. We're gonna cook this for about 5 or 6 minutes total at that shallow fry. Halfway through that cooking process, you do want to give these a flip, just so that way it gets a nice even coating all the way around. I'm gonna have a rice snack. See that? A little rice snack. Yeah? It's delicious. Oh, I need a little bit of salt. Oh, look at that. Look at that. I haven't had pork katsudan in a long time. Get a little more color on that side and a little more color on that side, just for like 30 seconds. That's it, just for 30 seconds. Then we're gonna yoink this guy out, take this guy out. Freaking beautiful. Look at that. Come on. Oh God, almost. Oh, freaking lost it. Now with katsudan, there's a very traditional way of doing it, and that's where you take your broth, which I am doing right here, adding maybe half of it to this. Then we take some of our onions, drop them straight in, and now we're going to cook this until those onions soften. The sauce is going to reduce slightly, and then you're normally supposed to put your katsudan on top and then throw the egg on top of that. I do not like my katsudan to be any kind of soggy, so I'm gonna do this just a little different and a little more separated. For the egg, I just have 2 whole eggs plus a little bit of that egg we had from pork egg wash. Gonna whisk these guys up. Ready? Almost? That's pretty good. This is when we're gonna take our egg and dump this right into that liquid. Now we're basically gonna just cook it in that liquid. That cooks so quickly. You can see how it's still kind of like runny, a little jammy still, right? That's as far as I'm gonna take my egg. They're a very, very soft set. The reason is I'm actually gonna throw a lid on this and I'm gonna let this hang out for maybe just, I don't know, a minute while we're just doing everything else. Now for this freaking pork. Yes, yes, good, very nice. I am so tempted to eat a piece of this, but I won't because it's so pretty. Look how fast that pork cooked. Now, of course, this has to go over rice, which we did make for lunch. Now, what do I want to put it on though? I'm quickly running out of plates. Let's do a little bowl, right? That's too little. You know, where's the bowl we used for Bakugo? We'll just use that. I did dishes earlier. I'm a responsible adult. Look at that. Boom, plate of rice. Imperative for katsudan, all of this beautiful egg. Okay, we need a spatula. Just had a little too much liquid on there. You know what? This is fine. We're just gonna take it off in layers. Then pork right on top. Remember all those green onions that I did earlier too? Giant pile of green onions right there. Oh yeah. There it is. Katsudan, My Hero Academia, Deku, the cinnamon roll, everyone's favorite boy to hate. I don't know what you kids are doing these days. Honestly, as easy as it gets. And again, this is kind of the non-traditional way, but it's how I like to make it. Cheers. Pork is still really juicy, really crunchy still. One thing I wish I would have done, a little more salt on the pork, but there is a good amount of saltiness from that sauce and the egg. Oh, baby. I'm gonna devour this. I've been making My Hero Academia food for the past 7.5 hours, so you should totally check out takudrip.com where you can pick up a bunch of really amazing shirts that we're starting to put out. If you wanna see me eat One Piece food for a day, you can check that out over here somewhere. My name is Chef PK, and remember, keep playing with your food.